Up with KREM begins now.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Inching our way towards 6 o'clock here on Up with KREM, and a high wind watch has been issued for eastern Washington and North Idaho tonight. Experts say tree damage and power outages are likely. So we're going to get a little bit more information on what exactly we should expect and who better to turn to than Up with KREM's meteorologist, Jeremy Lagu. How bad is it going to be, Jeremy?
It's not going to be quite as bad as that Thomas Patrick tweet made it look, and we've officially changed it from a high wind watch to a wind advisory. So now we are looking at a wind advisory working its way into our forecast. That hits early tomorrow morning. It's not Tuesday night, it's early Wednesday morning, lasting into Wednesday afternoon as the wind finally dies down. Let's let you know how this plays out. It starts with mild temperatures and rain early on this morning. Our atmospheric river is just pumping moisture into the region. This is as a cold front kind of moves through as a storm works its way from kind of southwest to northeast, but off the coast. It's a classic setup that brings us a lot of moisture and a lot of wind. In high elevations, we're talking real high up, 5,000 feet. You're getting close to a foot of snow. You're lower than that, it's going to be pretty difficult to get snow because we're so warm. There's that wind advisory for wind gusts approaching 55 miles per hour. That starts tomorrow morning, and that's as rain kind of winds down across the region. So we trade rain for wind, and if you're in higher elevations, it's snow traded for wind. So the rain comes down today, we catch a break, then another shot tomorrow, then we start drying out. In fact, as we get into tomorrow afternoon, I think as the wind finally starts dying down, might catch a peak of sunshine before the sun sets tomorrow. And by Thursday, it's all about the sunshine. Temps, warm today. This is likely one of our warmer days of the week. We could be warm tomorrow with that wind, but by the second half of the week, we're talking cooler temperatures. So it's double-edged sword. You get warmth, but you also have to deal with rain today, Jen.
And Jeremy, coming up with your full forecast, won't put you on the spot now. I'm curious if the wet ground and the wind is going to cause any issues when we're talking about trees falling, things like that. Of course, we'll let you get back to it, but looking forward to your full forecast here coming up in a few minutes. 6:01 now. Well, this morning, a North Idaho sheriff is taking a stand against health mandates. It is the Kootenai County Sheriff's Robert Norris's first month on the job. Nicole Hernandez joins us live from the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office, and she tells us more about his statement to the public. Hi, Nicole.
Yeah, good morning, Jen. So that new sheriff released a statement yesterday, and he said in that statement that he is not planning on enforcing any mandates that would help slow the spread of COVID-19. So first up, I want to give you a look at actually what part of that statement said. You can see it on your screen here. In the statement, he says it's not law enforcement's job to get between you, your health, and your doctor. In part, he wrote, quote, "It is my opinion that the facts are becoming clear with COVID-19. Certain risk groups should take extra precautions, but the vast majority of healthy people who contract COVID-19 will experience flu symptoms and recover from the virus," unquote. Now, Norris was sworn into his new role as sheriff on New Year's Day, the same day he gave an interview on Up with KREM. In it, he explains that people should have a choice to get the vaccine, but also said this.
But there certainly are some challenges. This virus does impact people, but a vast majority of them will recover. But boy, if you're in an at-risk group, we encourage you to evaluate your own risk and stay away from social gatherings and do whatever you need to do to reduce your risk to contract this virus.
Now, right now, face coverings are required in North Idaho until January 19th. The Panhandle Health District Board passed that mandate in November, and there are some exceptions for kids, people with medical conditions, and others. And then as for the entire state, there is no statewide mask mandate at this point. Live in Coeur d'Alene, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
Nicole, thank you so much for that live report. It's 6:03 now, and we're taking a live look at the White House right now. Sunshine in the nation's capital. Well, today the House is set to vote on a resolution urging Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment.
Yeah, House Democrats say they have the votes they need to impeach President Trump a second time if the VP does not activate the 25th Amendment. House members are accusing President Trump of inciting an insurrection when a crowd of his supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol.
The best way to heal and unify our nation is to hold accountable those who attacked our Capitol and those who incited that attack.
Well, if President Trump is impeached, he cannot run for office again in 2024. The House can also vote to bring about charges, but a ban on running would not be official until a Senate trial. Well, this morning, a local historian is weighing in on the events unfolding in the nation's capital.
Beulah is a local history professor in Spokane. We asked for his take on what we all watched unfold at the Capitol.
I think to a lot of historians, and talking to my historian friends, the most stunning scene for us in the last few days was that one man walking with a Confederate flag through the Capitol, something that Robert E. Lee was never able to accomplish. Certainly no president has been impeached twice. That'll always be part of Trump's historical record. But then no president has ever led an insurrection against the government before.
Today, President Trump travels to South Texas to visit the border wall. It'll be his first public appearance since the riot.
Well, inauguration is about 1 week away now, and this morning, the FBI is warning of armed protests at all 50 state capitals leading up to Inauguration Day. Leaders say the protests could start later this week and extend through January 20th. Now, in lieu of the threat, the National Guard does plan to increase its presence in the nation's capital. And this morning, leaders in Washington, D.C. are urging people to stay home for next week's inauguration. In the meantime, President Trump did issue an emergency declaration amid threats of violence. It allows the Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Emergency Management Agency to coordinate with local authorities.
Over the past few weeks, you've heard us talking about the 25th Amendment, but what about the 14th Amendment? That's another option that some lawmakers are considering today. Let's connect the dots.
In the wake of the Capitol riots, there has been a lot of talk about impeachment and the 25th Amendment. But those are not the only options on the table. There is also the lesser-known 14th Amendment. Let's connect the dots. Added after the Civil War, the 14th Amendment is best known for granting citizenship to anyone born in the United States and guaranteeing equal protection under the law to all citizens. But under Section 3 of the amendment, it also says public officials can be expelled from office if they engage in insurrection or rebellion against the United States or provide aid or comfort to our enemies. According to historians, it was aimed at keeping former Confederates from holding office. A few Democrats have broached using the 14th Amendment to remove President Trump from office, but the louder calls are for using it against members of Congress who encouraged the protesters. Lawmakers who could be targeted include Representative Mo Brooks of Alabama, who was at a rally in Washington before the riot, and Louis Gohmert of Texas, who suggested supporters take to the streets after his lawsuit to overturn the election failed. Senators Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley have also been mentioned. Whether this actually could happen is another matter. Political watchers say it may be harder to make a case against Cruz and Hawley because they did not directly call for violence or rebellion, but expect the matter to be discussed by lawmakers in the coming days.
We're taking a look at what's trending right now on social media. A tweet caught our attention and many online this morning. This screenshot of an email from the North Idaho-based internet provider Your T1 Wi-Fi is getting a lot of attention. Now, the company is giving its customers the option to block Facebook and Twitter due to censorship claims. Your T1 Wi-Fi says it's been fielding calls from customers who do not want these sites allowed on their internet and do not want their children visiting these sites. They originally announced they would be blocking the sites unless a customer requested otherwise. But Christy Yep, a Spokane resident, was not happy about the announcement and posted the emails on Twitter. Now, in a phone call with KREM, the owner of the company, Brett Fink, now says the website would only be blocked for customers who ask for that. The email says customers can do this themselves, but lack the technical knowledge to do so. Now, the move comes after Twitter and Facebook banned President Trump from their platforms. Those companies says this is due to incitement of violence and undermining the transition of power to President-elect Joe Biden. We've asked the company for comment and further clarification, but we've only been able to go off of the emails sent to customers. They may be violating Washington state's net neutrality law, which does not allow internet providers to manipulate access to content. Now, Washington state officials will be looking into the situation. Idaho does not have those same laws. The change is supposed to go into effect tomorrow.
Well, coming up this morning, UW researchers are not letting some water go to waste. Still ahead on Up with KREM, why a simple flush can help researchers track COVID-19 cases in your neighborhood.
And we've got one wild week of weather, and it all starts today. It's heavy rain this morning. Grab the raincoat and the umbrella as you head out the door, but you might want to put the umbrella away early tomorrow before it gets ruined.